Well, good morning, everyone, from Studio 57 here in New York. I'm Anne-Marie Green.
I'm Jamie Yukas in for Vladimir Duthier. And this morning we are tracking Hurricane Idalia. It made landfall in Florida about an hour ago as a Category 3 storm. Take a look at the map behind us. The storm is over Florida's Gulf Coast right now.
So Idalia is supposed to make its way north through Georgia and then South Carolina before moving out to sea. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis held a news conference this morning, and he had a warning for people in the storm's path.
The National Hurricane Center expects storm surge to reach up to 16 feet in some areas of the Big Bend region. That level of storm surge is life-threatening. Do not go outside in the midst of this storm. If it's calm where you are, it may be because you are in the eye of the storm, and those conditions will change very, very quickly. So wherever you are, hunker down and don't take anything for granted here. This is a very, very powerful storm.
We'll take a look at this video. This is flooding earlier this morning in Tampa as the storm moved through. You can see the water covering streets and the powerful winds blowing trees around as well. We are going to begin our coverage, though, with Omar Villafranca. He is right in the storm's path. He's in Crystal River, Florida. And Omar, I see now that you are in the water. You were sort of beside the water earlier today. What are conditions like there?
Well, in the last hour, Anne-Marie, the water was just over the edge of the canal, just right over there. And now I'm kind of staying here because of the boots I have on. It's at least gone up 1.5 feet. Just in the last hour right now. There have been some rain bands that have gone through. We're kind of getting some of the bands as this makes landfall a little bit north and west of us in the Big Bend area of Florida. When those bands come down, let me tell you, it's like you're at a water park because the rain is coming down sideways. There's a lot of wind. The trees are moving back and forth. This is relatively calm from when you're getting a solid band go through, but they drop so much rain. And this is what they leave behind, but there's also the surge that we're starting to hear about, starting to creep up. These homes behind me, we talked to some homeowners over here. They're gone. They're leaving. They left. They tied things down because they knew this was going to happen, and they're expecting this to go up a little bit more. They're hoping it stays out of their homes, but the way this water is rising, we're not really sure at this point. This is a big vacation area. They call this the nature coast. A lot of animals around here. Usually there'd be manatees that people would come and see just swimming in this canal right here, and the water is clear. But nobody's coming to see the manatees right now. They're basically just hunkered down if they're here, but most people have left. Interesting note, power outages, which the governor has been talking about, and state emergency managers, it is a big issue. Over 215,000 Floridians right now are without power. We're expecting that number to go up. We've seen the lights flickering here back and forth. We're using generator power, so this is something we're going to have to pay attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. Omar, I'm so glad to hear those homeowners left because, we heard the city manager just a short time ago, too, say this isn't over. You may not see the heavy rain right now, but the storm surge is still going to continue to creep up. There's still danger ahead.
There is, and not only that, they haven't really gone out and fully assessed everything yet. And when you go out there, and Jamie, you've been in hurricanes like this, you got to clean up before you can go even a few feet in front of you. If there's down trees and down power lines, which we know there are, first responders can't get around as quick, and so they don't want people going out there as well. Leave room for the crews that when it's safe for them to go out, they can start. I'm actually going to start moving forward because I can hear the water. I can feel the water creeping into my boots as this water goes up.
Well, I'm glad it's just water creeping into your boots.
We've heard some emergency. Yeah, it is right now because there are alligators here.
Yes.
There are alligators here, so we're keeping a keen eye out. We have heard some emergency responder vehicles kind of driving around, but we're going to try to find out what that was. But it's kind of all calm right now, in between the bands coming in. We're not seeing a lot of people coming out and doing stupid things. There's always one. Okay?
Yeah,
there's always one or a couple that'll come out for social media. Everybody seems to be heeding the call here and paying attention to what's going on.
Yep, doing it for the gram. We're learning now that the hurricane has been downgraded to a Cat 2. But what we also know is often when these hurricanes sort of slow down, that can be a bigger problem because it means areas get drenched. Yeah. The rain just keeps coming down in one location, and flooding is even more of a concern.
Yes, and you're right. When they slow down and they hit land, they've picked up a lot of water, and they start dumping it on the land. Listen, everybody says Florida's a pancake. It's flat. And so this water doesn't have a lot of places to go. I mean, right here was dry land probably 2 hours ago, and in 2 hours' time, it's already about 2 feet up over what were the banks there. And we started seeing this come in before we even saw rain. We saw water rising up slowly. That's the surge that they're talking about. So even though there's not torrential rain and there's not a lot of winds coming right now, you can see part of the sky over there is light. Over here, we're seeing darkness. But those bands will come through, and that water will rise very, very fast. People are infatuated with the wind and the damage and the things that flies around. The emergency responders and the facts bear out. It's not that kills people. It is the storm surge that goes into homes, that gets onto roads, and people think they can cross, or they stayed and their house gets flooded. That is what kills more people than the wind damage.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Hope you stay safe. Please be on the lookout for not just alligators, but snakes and other little critters in that water. Omar, thank you.
Yep.
We are tracking the path of Hurricane Idalia as it makes its way across the southeast.
For more on the forecast now, let's bring in meteorologist Jordan Steele from our partners at the Weather Channel. Jordan, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Well, thanks to our virtual view technology here at the Weather Channel, I'm standing in Charleston, South Carolina. We've got cloudy skies. That's how we're going to start the day. We know that's soon going to change. Idalia moving into the southeast. This is going to bring potential for tropical storm force winds, heavy rain. We could be looking at a flood threat here in Charleston. We know Charleston sits very low and floods very easily, and we've got a storm surge even here along the coast of the Carolinas, which I'll get to in a moment. Here's the overall path. It's going to impact multiple states over the next couple of days, and it'll skirt the coastline here into the southeast, which means we're going to be looking at impacts not only on our beach communities, but we're also going to be seeing and feeling those impacts back up through the Piedmont. That's where the biggest flood threat is. But coastal areas, 1 to 3 feet storm surge from North Florida all the way up into the Outer Banks of North Carolina. But look at the pocket here of 2 to 4 foot storm surge above normally dry ground. That could be expected in areas like I'm standing here in Charleston. So the overall pattern here is, as we work our way throughout the day today, we're expected this thing to be in South Georgia by tonight. Then, of course, through the overnight hours, it'll go into parts of South Carolina. But the impacts will be felt all the way up through North Carolina and even into Virginia, with some of those gusts coming in at 40, 50 plus miles per hour. Definitely not out of the question. So that's the overall pattern for the rest of this week, the stormy nature, of course, and with that comes big power outages. We've got a nice big swath here between Florida, Georgia, of widespread power outages. But again, remember, it's got a very large footprint, so we could be looking at power outages all the way up through parts of the Piedmont, as I mentioned, or places like Columbia, South Carolina, through the coast and into the coastal areas of North Carolina, and that's where the biggest flooding is going to take place. I mean, we're talking a half a foot of rain or more in some of these locations, and that means the flood threat is going to be very likely in this entire zone. Now, for more in-depth coverage, you guys can watch the Weather Channel on cable or, of course, live on your favorite TV streaming devices. Anne-Marie, back to you.
All right, Jordan, thank you.